Now, I'm going to share some information with people here in America that are targeted and that are experiencing community mobbing. And I do not want this information to be construed as being legal advice. Please consult an attorney, and I cannot provide legal advice because it's against the law. So the information I'm sharing is stuff that I have gathered through the night. I've been up the whole entire night doing research, and I want to share this. 42 U.S.C. 3789D, prohibition of federal control over state and local criminal justice agencies, provides in relevant part as follows. Nothing in this chapter or any other act shall be construed to authorize any department, an agency, officer, or employee of the United States to exercise any direction, supervision, or control over any police force. So under 42 U.S.C. 3789D, it pretty much states that Citizens Corps, not even Department of Justice, can get direction, supervise, or control any police force or any other criminal justice agency of any state or any political subdivision thereof. Now, we know that when we look at Citizens Corps and its programs, the VIPS program is under them. So is Department of Justice managing them? Or is it Department of Health and Human Services, DHS? You know, they're all stakeholders. So we have some loopholes here, people, that we could use. So it is prohibited that a federal agency have control over local police. Now, the VIPS program, these people are trained in many cases by Citizens Corps. And while they're managed by like an international like police chief association that's based out in Virginia. So who is managing these organizations here? Is it the stakeholders like the city, Citizens Corps, and other nonprofits that are involved in all this community engagement? So I have a lot of notes here. Bear with me a moment because I couldn't find my glasses and I just did the best I could. So now I wrote the definition of coordinated, managed, because according to this code that I just shared, they cannot give any direction, supervision, or control over a police force. So it pretty much means the same thing. Now, to be a partner with Citizens Corps, you have to go to the main FEMA office. I think it's like in Virginia or Washington, D.C. You know, it's somewhere in the state. So anyways, you have to go there and you have to go through these steps to get approved. So these programs are under Citizens Corps. So they have a say. Now, let me keep going here. Now, we also have 11.448, abuse of office, which means subject a person to mistreatment. B, denies or impedes another in the exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege. So if these organizations are abusing you, they're not going to fall under no immunity laws. Now, in the United States, the current doctrine is that a person cannot bring a suit challenging constitutionality of a law unless the plaintiff can demonstrate he or she will be immediately harmed by the law. So to use these laws that I'm sharing in a court of law, you have to show that if the system does not get involved, it's going to cause harm to you. Now, the National Neighborhood Watch Program is considered a criminal justice agency under Title 28 Code of Federal Regulations, CFR Part 20, Subpart A. These regulations in Section 20.3 define a criminal justice agency as the following. So a court, governmental agency, blah, blah, blah. Let me keep going. Also, any organization that's involved in the administration of criminal justice and detection of criminal activity, apprehension, detention, criminal identification. So activities based on Neighborhood Watch. So so the National Sheriff's Association actually falls under that, and I find it strange. We go back to 42 U.S.C. 3789D. So it talks about that, and under here that they can have no federal agency can have any direction, supervision, or control over any police force or any other criminal justice agency of any state or any political subdivision thereof. So let me keep going here. And now when we look under 29 CFR 99.105, we look under the definition of that, and we see it talks about a cluster of programs. Now there's all these stipulations, like if you make under $300,000 to $500,000, I guess, a fiscal year, you're exempt from being audited. So I'm sure they've made it where they can't be audited. They have it all separate. Really, they're all together. Really, it's a cluster of programs. And it says right here, a cluster of programs shall be considered as one program. And this is what's strange, is that when we look at that, and I'm repeating this over and over again because I want it to be embedded in your mind, that 42 UCS 3789D talks about they can't have no power over police, and when no supervision, control over any police force, and or any criminal justice agency. Now we know that the National Sheriff's Association is under them as cops. The VIPS program, those people can arrest people and give people citations. So they are police. Even if they're volunteers, they're still police. So I see the way around this is to, when we look at the cluster of programs, we see that they are, hold on one second. A cluster of programs, according to 29 CFR 99.105, it says right here, it should be considered one program. So there's all these exemptions. If you have a cluster of programs, I guess it can only be considered one program under the CFDA, Federal Domestic Assistance. I guess it's like a number people get for grants. So, but what I find strange is that when I look under the CFDA, I find 97.067 Homeland Security Grant Program. So these programs are coordinated by DHS, but they might have Health and Human Services, Department of Justice, and they're helping coordinating too. So there's a lot of loopholes where they can actually probably get in trouble also. So we see that the Texas Association of Regional Councils helps manage Citizens Corps. Citizens Corps is considered a non-governmental agency, but it is managed and coordinated by FEMA and DHS. Because FEMA is pretty much part of Department of Homeland Security. So let's just say that Department of Homeland Security pretty much coordinates Citizens Corps. And when you look at everything, all the programs that, like the National Community Service Group, whatever, it's under them, you see that it says that DHS communicates with them. So they're actually directing, they're actually helping. So let me keep going on here. And then let's look at Fire Corps. These are a bunch of people that are firemen. We're bringing information to them, and now people are being targeted, but they weren't being targeted before. There's a tremendous amount of loopholes for severe harassment like people would not believe. And I'm going to share some clips here in a minute of some of my notes. So if I share the wrong notes, forgive me because I haven't really slept, but I'm going to share some notes. I'm going to put them on a slide here in a minute. So the goal is to isolate you from all forms of support, to sensitize you to colors, harass you nonstop, and to get you off the street. They don't care how it's done. They don't care if it leads to shootings. I promise you, they don't care. And I've looked at some classified information that I got a while back. I don't have it now, but I had it in Albuquerque. It's a long story how I got the information, but I was doing Google searches and using different keyword searches. And it was, I guess it was something that was 10 years old and it was released. and I'll share a clip of it, and it actually states what information about the weed and seed program. They were actually harassing people and targeting people when that Department of Justice organization used to exist. So let me make sure I've gone through all my notes. Bear with me one second. So I want to make sure I have everything on here that I want to share. Now, Citizens Corps has 1,200 county, local, and tribal Citizens Corps councils and 56 state and territorial councils. And we see that when you want to join the InfraGard, you don't have to go to the FBI to join. You just fill out a form. And I'm sure someone in the FBI probably does a background check. So I just find this all so interesting. So if for me to be able to do something, or for us target individuals that are being harassed by these organizations, we'd have to be able to have it where we would have to have witnesses. We'd have to bring some really strong proof to the table. It's going to be time consuming, and it costs money. It costs money to do this, and these people do not take into account like the psychological damage they're actually causing you. They're using groups like some of the most well-known groups in America, Freemasons, all these different groups. A lot of good people get involved in this community engagement because they're being approached by police and people in the community. And many times our police are Freemasons, and not all of them are good, but some of them are, a huge portion of them are good people. And then what happens is that when the intelligence agencies come and they feed a bunch of horse crap to these police, and they fall for it, and they start targeting a person nonstop, then when the person complains about it to a psychiatrist or psychologist, they don't know what to diagnose them with. They just say they're delusional, they're crazy, because any person would think that. But then when you look at the community engagement groups that are actually involved, I have a long list from different police stations, and you see a long list of Freemasons, Masonic organizations, women's groups, Eastern Star, all types of groups. It's unreal. Groups that have no business being in this type of stuff. And these people aren't deputized. They're not given badges. They're not taking polygraph tests. This will be a one-time thing. This is done systematically. And then what happens is that once we share information about people and it gets in the community, then the FBI, DHS, it's out of their hands. They can't even, not even the police can do anything about it. Because then what happens, they have people in the community mobbing the person. And it's real serious what's going on. So I've done everything in my power to try to share some good information that may help some people. And I encourage people to do your homework. I have a lot more to share. Peace.